Settra was pleased. In short order, he had purged the corrupted undead from the shifting sands, and reconstruction was well underway, tearing down the shambling ruins the vampires called buildings, and repairing the damage done to his glorious cities. The recent obliteration of a massive invasion force led by Nagash's right hand, Arkhan the Black, also lifted spirits. The battles were swift, brutal, and decisively in Settra's favor, just the way the Great King liked it. These victories were nothing compared to the greater conquest Settra desired. His legion would not rest, and a colony of men to the west would be his next target. These were no normal men of the Empire. The cult of Sigmar was led by their so-called Grand Theogenist, a pious and brutal man, Volkmar the Grim, who believed that the only way to deal with a heretic or undead monster was through purifying flame. His followers would no doubt be fanatical, and gladly throw themselves on our blades and under our wheels to further Volkmar's will. Further afield, the followers of Nagash were no doubt recovering from their loss, and preparing their next dark scheme against us. They will need to be destroyed in short order to keep the creeping corruption of sedition from igniting any further rebellions from any other ambitious Tomb Kings. Their closest stronghold was the Black Tower of Arkhan, and the legions of Khemri would soon be bringing war to their doorstep. Joining our forces would be the newly raised Tomb Prince Onuris, 13th son of Settra. In his youth, he displayed almost superhuman skills when it came to the hunt, or war games with the other princes. And as he became a man, he became a legendary warrior in battle, ascending quickly through the ranks and eventually becoming a captain of one of Settra's famous Hawk Legions. With new threats looming on all sides, the Great King would once again need those skills in the coming war. And welcome on into part 4 of our Settra campaign. We are going to begin things off with a war against the foolish mortals over here in the Cult of Sigmar. I do not know where Volkmar himself is. He may be out over here crusading in the Great Desert of Araby trying to secure the Book of Nagash. Hopefully we are able to stop him from doing so, because if he purifies it, I do not believe we are able to make use. We have gone ahead and raised Prince Onuris here. As Techi's unit suggestion, he wanted it. Prince Onuris, he is the 13th son of
my king
Settra there, and he is going to be, I passed out some skills. He came on in at rank 7, which is amazing. And we just passed out Indomitable Will, Conqueror, ×2, so he's got all of the extra melee capabilities, and he has a trait of the Captain of the Hawk Legion, giving him an additional melee attack and melee defense for his entire army. And then he's got the passive ability, Discipline of the Hawk Legion, which gives him all of these additional buffs, which is basically just frenzy on extreme steroids. He's going to be an absolute monster in the fight. And so we are going to be saving for the... Oh, here it is over here, the landmark. The City of Bronze at Kasabar, giving us access to a little bit more Ushabti. We need as many of the construct fellows as we can to get access to those for Sehenesmet's army. We have plenty of availability for chariots for Settra, and that's pretty much all Settra needs. We're just going to upgrade the Tomb Guard to eventually be Royal Guard, and then obviously these archers to be Royal Guard as well. But the chariots are going to pretty much be the same until we get access to the Royal Guard chariots. Let's start things off with a war against the Cult of Sigmar here. We're going to have Sehenesmet move out first on the plain of Tuskers, and I don't believe Settra can actually reach. Yeah, it doesn't look like he can actually reach. There's a little tiny red arrow that appears there. See, even though it looks like he should be able to reach this set town and no problem. No, it looks like we will not be able to. So we will start things off then with a battle with Sehenesmet. Time to secure these deserts. Volkmar's like, well, I guess we could have seen this coming. He had an aversion -50 to me anyway, so chances are he was going to be coming after us. And at some point.
They challenge me.
Waddle on over. Well, they don't challenge you. You're challenging them. And it would be a decisive victory, but I think We need to start this off with a resounding battle. Let's do it. And so our legions march to war for the first time against the Empire. We will start things off in slow motion. This is going to be a definite warm-up battle. But we have a kind of generic line. I generally like to make sure I have 2 sets of beater infantry on one side to kind of smash through one portion of their line faster. And then I will reinforce the other side, usually with magic or the Lord. And then we've got archers all along the back, chariots pulling up the sides, as well as the flamethrower serpents, the disciples of Tra. The Empire's rolling with kind of just their typical garrison. Faith and steel is all they come here with. They forgot their gunpowder. Their crossbow line.
By the gods, keep clear!
By the gods, they see these things crawling over towards them. Or perhaps Sehenesmet. I would just leave. I can't lie. I would be like, listen, boys, it's time to go home. They beat us. Crossbow bolts flying out. I realized that the softest portion of the line was actually going to be the center. So all of the chariots have now switched their positioning. Got an exposed flank. Yeah, but we have a beautiful chariot charge. Bodies going flying. That extra 200% mass lends itself to all sorts of extra destructive capabilities. The front line is destroyed already just with the chariot charge. And they receive a point-blank dose of flames. Just what the doctor ordered. And as the chariots charge in, adding insult to injury, running them down. Sehenesmet and the main forces haven't even arrived yet. And the Empire is already in tatters. These swordsmen are now getting the dose of burning flame from Tra. The ground will be charred, their bones will be charred. Swipe of the Crook of Shapesh. Give him a right hook too. He is the old gigantic Kratos. Who needs a weapon when you have a fist the size of a car? Poor fools. They can run, but we will grind them into paste. The last unit fights Sehenesmet, and I don't think they're going to be doing that for long. Should be one more punch. I was just going to walk on him. The disrespect. He'll just walk off. Some beautiful chariots running down those that retreat. Even though the battle will end at the end, I still will chase everyone down because it's too much fun. And that is the victory. The gods have abandoned them, and this town now belongs to us. And the meager citizen militia run over like wheat underfoot. We lost 3 skeletons total. Quite the victory there. We could sack it for 1,500, but I think we are just going to claim the town and re-sculpt its buildings for our own use.
My new city.
New city. We almost have enough now to put in the city of bronze. I don't think we got, yeah, just barely. We need a little bit more. You don't gain quite that much from that post-battle loot, so income Bone Wharf. Up to the Grave Port, we would get a Tomb Bark, which is a magic chariot that causes terror, magical aura, and it flies. It's just a flying boat, huh? Sounds good to me. Go ahead and put in the cannery so we actually have access to those furs. And then now we need to start making friendly advances on Tlaqua here. Actually does not like war with Cult of Sigmar, but we are still improving because we're at war with the followers of Nagash. How much would we have to pay for a non-aggression pact? If we were to send you money, how much would we have to? 1,000? That's a lot. Great King pays nothing to lizard men.
Arise, legions.
Alright then, Sehenesmet. For your skills. Probably be a good idea to just either make him better or make us overall more adept after combat. We could do Transmutation of Righteous Smiting, which would help out with missile damage. We can grab this because this will help out once we do have the Ushabti as well, but I would also just like to make him better in combat, so let's give him Indomitable Will. Since he is a big ol' nasty boy with some bonus versus infantry, we could make him even stronger with Conqueror. 10% more and 8 more melee attack. Sounds good. His melee attack is not all that good for how large he is. For Bereft here, we could go for Cleanse Corruption, but we don't really have that much corruption in the area, so I think... Which of these is an area hex? Enfeebling Foe is not, so let's go for the Withering. Drops 30 armor and 8 leadership, and we can turn that into an area. Anything that drops armor is a spell I like. Ooh, eventually you can get a Tomb Bark. That is awesome.
Immortality and power.
Alright, well you're here. We can do some global recruitment. I think he's fine with his 18-man army for now. Settra, let's see if we can possibly get in here on Sudenburg. If not, that's fine. Well, they're playing El-Kalabad, so that means he's probably over here somewhere. And he was defeated out over at El-Kalabad. Come on, Settra. Dude, you can do it. Just waddle a little bit closer. That's so sad. Alright, well, Sudenburg will perish next turn. Can we raid at least? No, but we can... We can do some channeling. I'll take more magic. More magic will indeed work. And putting in that building has slowed down our progress towards acquiring the City of Bronze, sadly. I think we're just going to have to deal with that, though. That is going to be what it is for now. Let's grab the extra growth while we're spending money. And then that will probably end up being our turn. Our turn once more. Volkmar has shown himself. He has revealed himself to us. He's got... I mean, it's an army that would have concerned me back before I had my chariots. The Black Pit tribe up in the north has been destroyed. King Hakor is back. And Hierophant Agatep is back as well. Several Hierophants. And then we have a new mission. Recruit a melee infantry unit. We'll get a combat focus and some canopic jars. Which, fair enough. Not something that would really help us out that much, being who we are, but it will do. We will have Settra here. I was going to have him attack Sudenburg, but since Sehenesmet can actually reach, I believe, let's make sure he can actually make it. Oh, we can have Settra help out, and then he can move up north. This is even better. Alright, well, we will give this one to auto-resolve. Sorry, Sudenburg, you are beyond crushed with these two armies. We lost a good deal, but that's fine. We lost 556, more than we have in any battle so far. And we will just occupy the settlement of Sudenburg, claiming this province in 2 turns. Land of the Dervishes is now the land of the Settra. Alright, we don't need another Crypt Barrack. Let's go ahead and destroy that. And have Settra with his newly gained skills. Tomb Strike sounds horrifying. Just any ability to give him more damage is nothing he needs. Over my dead body. More speed sounds good. I also just like to make him harder to hit, so let's go for... Get Desert Strike later on. Oof. Okay, so we'll go for full plate armor then. Give him a little bit more armor. More defensive, and we can get a grab over my dead body. And then Desert Strike.
Greatness comes.
Sehenesmet. You are quite great, sir. Go for Conqueror first, then we'll go for hard to hit.
I reign.
The Withering for Bereft, now that he can scoot around on a skeletal steed a little bit faster. And now it is time for a battle with the Grim. The Jade Griffin. Oh, he's going to get some friends coming in from El-Kalabad as well. This is going to be a battle of the ages then. Prepare to be tested. Cult of Sigma, giving us a valiant defeat here. He has the Staff of Command. making him a little bit stronger. And then he has the Jade Griffin, giving him a 20% ward save and a passive regeneration. Volkmar is going to be scary, and he's on a War Altar of Sigmar. Awesome. Now this is going to be quite the battle then. We need to charge in on him as fast as we can. But with just our heroes. Because he will be able to call down some Grand Soulfire around him. Doing a really good bit of damage to our skeleton soldiers. So we'll need to play this one a bit safe. The Tomb Guard are the partially mummified remains of the King's elite guard. They are exceptional warriors, maintaining all of the discipline and martial skill they had in life, and have been reborn with immortal bodies far stronger and more resilient than the flesh and blood they once wore. Furthermore, Tomb Guard retain more of their former personalities in the masked soldiery of the skeleton warriors. They awaken with the memories of heroic deeds, bloody victories, and the unyielding will to destroy their king's enemy, still burning strongly in their mind. What good fortune we managed to capture both Volkmar and the defenders of the city. And here they are stand against us. Volkmar himself riding on his war wagon. He will be a ton of fun to deal with his magical damage and his regeneration that he is casting out around him there, as well as giving us a miscast chance for all of our casters. And he also has a bound banishment. He is all sorts of awful for our massed infantry, so we need to keep them as far away from him as we can. His infantry will be run down like wheat by our chariots there, so as long as we can keep them away from those 2 units of halberds and pin those down mostly with arrow fire, we will roll over Volkmar with ease. He worships Ulrich. Settra worships Tra, screaming on in. The burning wheels of the chariot of the gods. Smashing it, unfortunately, to a braced unit of spears, and that was a ton of damage for a braced unit even. Nepoph is sneaking around behind. I need to get those chariots out of that fight as fast as we can. Again, the center line here is the weakest. We decided to charge right on through. Hoping more Empire soldiers beneath the wheels. As Apophis has located his target, Volkmar, and his arms outstretched. He just wants a hug, Volkmar. This guy in the back is terrified. It's the scene in The Mummy where they're running away from him in the back of the bus. Again, we've done a ton of damage, and the rest of the army has not even arrived yet. Settra and his forces are still rolling on in a little bit slowly. I was kind of taking it cautiously because Volkmar's army was vast here, and I was trying to make sure I microed the chariots. And they were still taking a good deal of damage. Another pretty lovely charge. Smashing into those great swords. Settra has located Volkmar though, and he smashes right on in. The chariots are actually, or at least the heroes and lords on chariots, are not great in single combat with others. Volkmar himself is going to be struggling with that as well. Blessed Blade of Petra kicked in, as well as the Wrath. In the background, the corpses of mortar crew litter the ground. These flagellants are actually no joke. They are dueling with Kepra Swarm that Apophis dropped to escape. Give him a little bit of extra cover. Halberds have charged in on Apophis. Now they're trying to lock down our chariots, who are having a little bit of trouble. We are about to lose the second group. We already lost the first group of chariots. Lots of halberds. We should charge them in a little bit aggressively without enough support, and that's what happens. Got the Witch Hunter over here. He's just taking pot shots with that pistol. Bounces off Nekaph. He's trying to figure out what's going on. But Volkmar and his priest defeated. Settra and his 2 princes cannot be stopped by the likes of you. A massive hit to their leadership. princes find those crossbows, shut those down as fast as we can. The Empire swordsmen, the state troops, while they do have a lot of grit, in combat they will not last but a few moments against our Kepler Guard or any of our Tomb Guard for that matter. Oh, case in point, as they turn and run. Any that aren't cleaved in twain. Cowardice is breaking across the line. It is contagious. Whole squads of men running all at the same time, retreating for the safety of their walls. But Volkmar was defeated on the field of battle, and this is going to be a massive blow to our enemies. Pat pat to the Grand Theogulist. A victory over the arrogant Empire. We did end up losing the third Golden Host of Kimri, as well as the second Deathbringer host in the fight, but we do still have 3 of our chariots, so we're still performing pretty strongly there. Settra and the other heroes took a bit of a beating, but they slaughtered their foes and held down the line to allow our frontline troops to actually get there. They arrived a little late, but we'll just get a little bit better with timing as we go on. Having to learn the army. So the settlement garrison took almost no casualties. They basically turned and ran as soon as we killed Volkmar. We did manage to hunt down the Witch Hunter, though, so we won't have to be dealing with them. Let's see. I believe because he was in march stance, Volkmar's army is gone, so we just have to deal with the settlement garrison, and we are in the clear. I think we're going to go for the Endless March for even more treasury. Brindley von Dragon is gone, and Hierophant Tuyet is coming on back at the Black Tower of Arkhan. Stolen the Armor of Destiny. And now we're the Grimbane. So our whole army has more melee attack and defense. And we gained the Regiment of Renown, the Eyes of the Desert. Which, since those are constructs, those can go in with Sehenesmet right away. Our first constructs. They're anti-large, they've got Vanguard, they've got Stalk. They're good at sneaking around behind and blasting their large units or their armored units with missiles. And then once they get into melee, they're not actually all that great. They are fine at tearing down large units. We're going to leave Sehenesmet there. Our next course of action, once we claim El-Kalabad, is going to be turning back around and most likely attacking the Black Pyramid of Nagash here with both armies at the same time. I think we could claim it with both armies. But Settra gained some skills in the last battle, so let's go ahead and pass those on out. He doesn't have access to the Unearthed Arcana yet. We got to get up to rank 31. We need to be powering on towards that so we get access to Traw's Invocation of the Desert Sun. I think in the meantime, we grab Master Charioteers, giving them even more charge bonus and reload time reduction. Nekaph himself. We'll go for Woundmaker then. He's up to 548 with a bonus versus infantry of 28, which is no small number. For Nebethar, we have access to the Desert Strike now, which is better than Tomb Strike, gives us 60% more weapon damage and 40 melee attack, and still causing terror. I think it lasts exactly the same amount of time, too. Yeah, 23 seconds. Fair enough. We shall move and strike as the desert. Can't quite reach El-Kalabad, sadly. We're going to have to hang out for a turn in enemy territory.
Submit.
Here at Sudenburg, I think the first thing we're going to put in is going to be a growth building, followed quickly by the wine. We are slowly filling in the different mortuary cult resources. Kasabar, we are going to shove in the City of Bronze. Kasabar was the center of ancient Nehekhara's industry. It was home to the fabled lion-headed Ushabti of the Legion of Bronze. Give us some money, give us some Ushabti, and make sure we recruit troops faster. No reason for the greater Bastet just yet. Prince Oniris, though, can start moving on over to roll with Settra. We've got lots of heroes. I think Prince Nebethar is going to probably be breaking from Settra's army Actually, I did mention that Prince Oneirus is going to be keeping an eye on Sehenesmet, so that's what he's going to be doing. You join Sehenesmet.
Agents arise.
Meanwhile, we've got Senuferet up here in the north, trying to locate Skarbrand. Good, good, good. So Thorek is claiming his territory. I would prefer it fall under our control. It not being under Skarbrand's is very nice. Here's Death Gorge. Damage some buildings. I'd rather not spend the money on that. Costs 490, and we would most likely fail. Let's just keep scouting. Nothing but Death Gorge. Thorek should be able to power through them, no problem. With the Land of Dervishes under our control, though, we can go ahead and put in a commandment. Most likely it's going to be Worship of Tra. Yeah. Definitely. And then over here at Kasabar, we're going to switch it off of Worship of Fox and switch it over to Petra as well. Growth as much as we can, and then we'll switch things once we are maximized settlement-wise.
What?
Actually, even though I did say we weren't going to put that in, nothing else to build at the moment, so I think growth is fine.
High
Queen would love a non-aggression pact. She's actually currently at war with Thorek.
Rune Lord.
He is currently ticking up towards us. Improving. I wouldn't mind being friends with the Dawi. Their quarrelers would be nice additions to our army.
You come before greatness. It is normal to feel overwhelmed.
Sandgrinder has come on in to speak. He would like a trade agreement, and he's going to pay us for it. We could do that. However, there is a monument here. And that monument probably should belong to Settra. So, while trade would be beneficial to us, I say no. Dynasty researched. We have the runic inscriptions giving us even more charge bonus, more ammunition, and more reload time reduction. And we have a mission issued. Recruit one hero, Screamer. We require a Screaming Skull Catapult to ensure your reign. So we need a hero for that? Fair enough. Henry looks to be the only defender left for El-Kalabad. Well, Henry, unfortunately, good sir. Oh, I would take you out with the auto resolve, but we would lose the messengers of Settra. I find that to be unacceptable. The battle. Beleaguered though our forces may be, they will still easily surpass the forces of the Empire that remain. Let's get this battle going. They've only got a few regiments of state troops left, a couple crossbowmen. Enough spearmen to kind of hold our chariots back, though, so we want to be very smart with those chariots. We can't just smash the middle as easily. It looks like the AI has caught on to that as being my main strategy. So I've got the crossbow chariots. Crossbows. That'd be very awesome. These are just archer chariots. They're scooting on over. They're going to try to harass from behind, while Apophis uses his magic and summons. Hand of the Casket of Souls blasts hellfire down on them while they're bogged down in the river there. Makes me wish our chariots were doing a little bit better. Blast from Apophis there. Ignore the Skaven symbol. Those men were murdered by Usirian. Settra charging right down through the middle, mulching men in his way. Bogged down in the river how these lads are, they are going to get torn asunder. We move the archers in, and a swarm of beetles descends to rip the flesh from their bones. As dramatic as that would be, it would be not a pleasant way to go. Neither that being ground into paste under our chariot wheels. As the Tomb Guard arrive, great weapons in hand. I'm sad we don't have Great Weapon Tomb Guard in the base game, because they are just a amazing unit. A blast of acid comes on out. And it looks like for the most part, the armies of the Empire have broken. The rivers will wash away their bodies and their blood, but their pride will never recover. Those that survive. And those that die, we will reanimate to fight, or at least labor for us, because these guys weren't all that great at fighting, to be honest. Settra's gonna ride down their general just to make sure he knows, or at least their soldiery know, that there's only one king. And Henry tried and failed to lead his forces to any kind of futile defense. We lost one skeleton. I'm disappointed. And we are going to claim El-Kalabad for Settra. Scourge of mankind already, huh? That was fast. And we have gained the headsman as well. Executed captives after battle multiple times. To free an enemy is a fatal mistake. Better to free them of their head. -3 control and -3 leadership. Very nice. Settra is known for slaughtering all in his way. Prince Apophis is known for killing anyone that Settra tells him to. We still aren't going to go for any of his passive abilities. I am enjoying making him an absolute menace in battle. Molt would give him some more hit points, which is interesting. I think I'm going to go for just more health, or more damage. More damage. And over here with Settra, I would like to give him, instead of the Armor of Fortune, give him the Armor of Destiny. Gives a little bit more ward save total. Same amount of everything else, just a little bit more ward save. Armor of Fortune can go on Prince Oniris or Sehenesmet.
My will be done.
Perfect. And now we bring Sehenesmet up north. Is Talakwa still... Now we are starting to deteriorate now. Well then. Listen up, lizards. We may need to give them some gold. We will hand them a small gift to keep them from attacking us randomly. We can get this up to where we can get a non-aggression pact with the lizards in the south. That would be very, very nice. I'm gonna guess Orion's camp is not happy with us either. Oh no, they're entirely fine. They're adverse to us, but they're also tolerant. Trade agreement. How much money would you threaten them for it? Doesn't seem like the way to foster good trade. Trade with us or else. For Sehenesmet, we're gonna try to take the gamble there. I don't think they're going to attack us, especially after we gave them the gift. That would be really rude. Let's move up to the borders here of the Black Pyramid of Nagash. Yeah, he knows what's up. Hierophant and Barek. But actually this guy being outside keeps us from having to fight a siege battle, which I think is going to be key in winning. So Settra is going to have to recruit up, unfortunately. And I think since we're kind of unable to recruit any more chariots, can we do it for less turns? Nay is the answer. Alright, well then... In the meantime, I do think we put in some Nehekhara warriors. El-Kalabad. Let's trade that one on out. Although, is that going to ruin everything? Yes, it will. If we destroy that building, we won't be able to recruit these warriors. Or, I'm foolish, and counting is difficult. Fortunately, they're going to have a turn to recruit up. We can deal with that. I don't really want to give you Kep Regard. I will if I have to. We can recruit them in one turn if we need to. So, for now, you can just have some more scaly warriors. Oh, never mind. Prince Oniris has jumped again. You have no more room.
Open the casket of
Welcome, Prince. I'd like to attack the Black Tower of Arkhan first. Just because moving away from them, for them to claim El-Kalabad back. Oh, he actually owns Zandri and the Pools of Despair. He must have been doing more work up here in the north. Us defeating Arkhan probably helped out quite a bit. In Studenberg, we can grab the vineyard. It doesn't actually give us any gold, so we will hold off. Maybe instead we put in a Troinal Plaza. If we come under threat, we will have a bad time. I think we continue to play a little bit overly aggressively. Let's grab the growth. And for our next dynasty, we are going to go for the Wisdom of the Fourth. Because, I mean, while I'm not necessarily so worried about income from sacking and looting, the actual research technologies that we're actually going to be getting first are going to be the Stronger Binding, the Dark Brotherhood, and the Pride and Service. This one gives us access to actually recruiting Necrolith Colossi when we build in the pyramids. And the Stronger Binding just increases our Tomb Guard, Royal Guard, and the big colossal units. And then Pride and Service just increases all of our heroes, as well as the Tomb Guard. So, whole bunch of really good buffs in here, since these cost 5k each to do, and we're pretty much just using our money to build up the kingdom at this point. We'll have a surplus of gold at some point. We are not quite there. Well, I guess I didn't actually pick that one on in. I said Wisdom of the Fourth. And the turn once again falls to us. We do have a puzzle now, as Skarbrand has moved on in. I guess he was up here mashing around in this side of the map that we could not see, but he's going to be ignoring Thorek. Looks like either coming after Kimri, or more likely going straight past Kimri to attack Nubas, or going past Kimri to attack the Springs of Eternal Life. Either way, he's going to be bypassing Kimri most likely. So let's send Sehenesmet in March stance to defend. Can't make it into friendly territory quite. Skarbrand can only get to the bridge. Do a little bit more trespassing. Let's get into friendly territory at least. And then it did look like we were unable to complete that. I was misread that we were getting 4 additional units instead of just the 2 that I was thinking. So let's grab the Charnel Plaza here just to make it so we're making money. We will be claiming the Book of Nagash here in a moment. We need to deal with these different armies that are showing up. I think the best way to do that is going to be attacking the Arkhan the block there. He will most likely turn and run, but that's fine. We'll then turn and crush the Hierophant. Our enemies are rebuilding their armies quickly. In that case, let's attack the Black Tower of Arkhan. Going to give us a Pyrrhic victory. They do have walls up, unfortunately for us. Yes, so we are going to have to be blasting through the walls first. Once we are in through the walls, though, the only thing in our way are just skeleton spearmen. And then we will be attacked by the Ushabti eventually, so we have to keep that in mind as well. Oh, I think we're good to go, though. Let's charge on in. The Black Tower of Arkhan was built by Nagash's trusted vizier at the height of the Reign of Terror. Isolated deep in the Cracked Land, the Black Tower offered Arkhan a refuge where he could develop his mastery of dark magic. Constructed in union with the accursed Black Pyramid, Arkhan's infernal spire and the lands that surround it are saturated with dark magic, and many vile things dwell in its shadow. Following Nagash's defeat by the army of the Seven Kings and Arkhan's mortal death, Black Tower was abandoned, and for centuries it remained a haunted place, shunned by all. We cannot allow this treacherous fool to have his place of power. No, we will claim it for Settra. Let's begin the battle. Settra and his lads charging right on in to try to knock down those gates. I've got the rest of our soldiers kind of arrayed off to the side to avoid any fire from those fort towers, which apparently they decided to stay off of because I actually don't know why. We've got the chariots all around the perimeter to knock down gates and capture different points to shut down their building of different barricades. I was going to send our Tomb Prince around and in to claim the victory point if he could, but since they deployed several units to stop that, we were going to take full advantage of that and charge Settra and his main body directly in and do as much damage as we can. So the Roomba of Doom scooting forward, as well as Settra. I was waiting Apophis to transform into Tomb Swarm there so we could actually scoot over the walls. The horses are going to start chewing on this metal gate. Eventually they'll get through. They're like termites. You can't keep the horses out. Skeletal legions advance. This guy doing a bit more of a limp than an advance. Oh, the Kepler Guard are so awesome. They've all got their fake goatees. They're ready to go. The decision making was we were going to either send him directly over to the victory point or over the top to assassinate the Hierophant here, because that is his main goal, and the Hierophant would not be great in a melee. The gates are open, Settra. Go get them. Someday I'll figure it out. Lots to going on. Yep, we have the Tomb Swarm Apophis charging on over the top. I didn't want him to get caught in by the Carrion. I figured he would still beat the Carrion, but that's free damage I didn't feel like taking. So avoiding the Carrion and transforming now back into his normal self, as the other chariots have all impacted their distinct gates. Runs for his life as he realizes the Scarab Lord is upon him. Carrion descend, they're not going to last long at all. Especially not with the Tomb Swarm ripping them to shreds. Settra and his Tomb King, or Tomb Prince, are still just sitting there at the gate. Allowing the enemies to block around Apophis, and then we can just get a freer charge on all these spears. Hierophant quickly realizing that a duel with Apophis was not for him, and he falls in record time. I guess I saw him laying in the ground there. It was not him, it was one of their Lich Priests. He's just running around over here. He took a half damage and escaped. Yeah, I was seeing whatever this was, and I thought it was him. Each blast from the casket just destroying their units. I was very confident in taking the walls with our Tomb Guard, even if they were going to take a hit to their vigor for hitting up to the walls. They are so superior to their opponents that they would have no issue fighting through. Skull and bone being ground to powder, Apophis stands alone. On the other end, our Tomb Prince broke down the gates, or I guess he didn't actually succeed in breaking the gates down. So what had happened is the gates had opened up, and they charged out to attack him, so I just pulled him back and allowed them to retreat, and then he was going to hit whichever unit decided to remain, as the rest of my chariots all are struggling with different spearmen and archers over here. Trying to keep their units locked down, trying to keep those arrows from actually getting the opportunity to fire. Just constantly moving and staying a threat. Over on the walls, the Tomb Guard are making short work of the spearmen. And guys, the shield bashes are going out with a vengeance. Was a quick Ushabti summon, but had left the Halberd Tomb Guard down to defend, and they quickly were able to rout. Stand in the way, take that damage, and allow those archers to escape. Office versus Spearman, rather, is always going to go in his favor. And even though they've opened up the Realm of Souls once more, I don't think they will be surviving. We've got a chariot duel of the centuries. Ours are going to be reloading much faster and have a bit more armor. But it looks like sheer numbers are starting to play pretty big in the enemy's favor. However, they are into the units that they want to be, as another unit of archers disintegrates, and they are able to beat a hasty retreat directly into another group of archers. Firing those arrows point blank gives you a lot better chance to hit. The rest of the army has already disintegrated on over, Settra is rotating because I realize there's much more forces left than I was initially thinking. Crypt ghouls and skeletons fighting side by side. Here's some of the chariots being torn to pieces as they're not quite able to escape. And another one does the dance of the other realm. Settra charging on in. I don't know if he got caught on the crypt ghouls or that bit of terrain there, but Nekaph also charges in, smashing into Settra. They're not doing a very good job of looking out for each other. Wrath of Strahd to knock off their regeneration, and he has other things to deal with. Nekaph and Apophis can fight the crypt ghouls. Swings at the air, and because he is now a master of airbending, he kills ghouls just with the wave of his blade. Team Wendigo versus Team Chariot. As the other Tomb Guards stream across the walls, claiming those positions and moving around behind them. Every spell cast by Settra is also healing the entire army, so I was just casting out any of the cheap spells I could. Just making sure we got out of this battle with as much health as possible. If it bleeds, we can kill it. These chariots really, really didn't like ours, and we're chasing them down with extreme prejudice as the great swords once again lend their might. Our Tomb Guard great swords have been absolutely monstrous in combat. Splintering shield and bone with ease. As the rest of Arkhan's forces fade away. And his fortress falls to Settra. Kepra Guard getting into a duel with some swords up there, and that is going to be the end. Settra claims yet another town. And another resounding win for the history books. 2,700 defenders rode to stop us, and we only lost 62 in the battle. A decisive victory if there ever was one. Looks like the Tower of Arkhan has recently been plundered. We can just occupy it, claiming this strategic location, which is important to the Tomb Kings. Here we have the Black Tower of Arkhan. The Lich King proselytizes his master Nagash. His Black Tower juts skyward, declaration of his dark and cruel intent. This will generate some canopic jars, give us some control, income from all of our buildings in this local province, as well as give us the legionary barrage for armies in the region. As well as also giving us, I guess, some additional garrison. That's quite a good building. No pyramid for Arkhan, just his tower. We are going to destroy this obelisk because it is useless. We have to get up to tier 4 in order to get the Black Tower of Arkhan, so we need to be working towards that. Settra's hit rank 21, which is amazing. Let's max out Master Charioteers here. And then for Nekaph, I do like him on his chariot, but I do think that while having an additional speed is nice, how much do we lose? I really like, oh, he loses an absolute ton. I really like having him as a footlord, but on his chariot, he's very fast. That's kind of the best benefit from that. Okay, in that case, we'll go for Over My Dead Body to gain the additional hit points on the second tier. And then for Apophis, just more strength. Up to 640. Prince Nebethar. We could go for the Canopic Jar Hoarder. We could. I think we would rather just make him harder to hit, and then we'll get back on making his armor thicker. Alright, now Arkhan has nowhere to live, I don't believe.
No, this cannot
Oh, wait, I am full of it. He's all the way over here. He starts at the Wizard Caliph, so should have a couple settlements left. He needs to be retreating on back. Volkmar has 3 armies over here now. If we can defeat them, I would feel good about moving over to fight with Skarbrand. Sehenesmet may be dealing with this army of Bloodletters solo, though. Ooh, that's going to be a nightmare. Thankfully, we do have plenty of chariots. What good buildings are there? At Qatar, I believe we have the Pyramid of King Far, and that's at tier 3. Numas has the Pyramid of King Tutankhamun. That's Control and Growth, and this one is Control and Income. I think we want that one. Let's upgrade Qatar first. Before we do so, just make sure there's nothing else to do at Kasabar and Magar. Oh yeah, which pyramid's at Bagar? That is the Pyramid of Alcadazar, which gives us faction-wide post-battle loot. Ooh, that one may be even better. Tough choices all around here. We'll go for Bagar. Even though it isn't in the safest portion of our kingdom, we shall make do. Alright, looks like I got lied to by the map. The only reason I moved Senufred all the way over there is because it looks like he wasn't going to be able to pass the settlement, so somehow Skarbrand has scooted past the settlement, even though it said he didn't have the movement to, and attacked Senufred in march stance. This is going to be a precarious battle here. We do have our chariots, but they're going to be tired to start, which is going to make them much less useful. We're going to use them, though. We have to get them out front, bombarding Skarbrand with damage. He's only going to be regenerating in combat, so since Senufred is so large, I think his only course of option is he has to get engaged with Skarbrand as the archers fire in over his head. Good news is Skarbrand is very fast. Alright, let's get this thing going. Sepulchral Stalkers are large, reanimated sentinels, created by the ancient Nehekharans to guard the borders of a king's domain. These constructs are many times larger than a horse, have the body of a snake and the upper torso of a man. Atop the statue's curved spines sit human skulls, inside which glow eerie, baleful lights. They wield massive ornate staves with brutal efficiency, and any foolish enough to gaze into their unwavering eyes is instantly turned into a pillar of sand, to be blown away in the desert winds. It is time for a test of arms. Sehenesmet, Onuris, and Berekt are going to be in for quite the challenge. Skarbrand is going to be an enemy unlike they have faced before. So hopefully our legions are ready. We've got our extra capable archers with their sun-scorched bones, armor-sundering arrows. We've got our flamethrower cobras, all of our chariots. It is going to be a slaughter regardless. Very brutal battle. Let's get this going. Most of Skarbrand's forces are going to be Marauders or Bloodletters, much more heavily leaning towards the Demon variety here. Plan was going to be just smash up, since none of these guys are really anti-large. Just use our chariots to cause as much damage as we can before they get close to our line, and then use the arrows there on these lightly armored units to drag them down, using the river to as a continued or an extra slowdown for these small units here. Probably should have waited a little bit longer, let them get down into the river before charging in. That would have made things, probably allowed them to escape a bit easier with less damage back. They did get return charged, as well as a realm tear opening itself up, pouring some slathering bloodletters through. Managed to rout off 2 units pretty quickly there. Hopefully they sprint right off the side of the map and don't come on back. Bone, blood, and flapping wing. Need to get those chariots out of there quickly before they get bogged down and torn up. Skarbrand managed to destroy several chariots just on one single charge. It's just this is one charge worth of damage, as he stomps through another group of chariots. They are completely bogged down and don't have much chance of escaping. They're going to attempt to try to keep him away from our main line as long as they can. But he actually has more speed than our chariots and will have no trouble keeping up. Bloodletters charge on in under a withering hailfire of arrows. Sehenesmet buffing on up and then punching his colossal fist deep into demon flesh. Doomguard were definitely ready for that charge and meet their attackers head on. Tearing flesh with their Khopesh. The Dual Axe Warriors fighting their counterparts while the Sepulchral Stalkers look on. I initially thought they would be able to fire over the backs of their allies, but it turns out that was definitely not the case, as they kind of jitter around and are unable to do much. Skarbrand has made it on in to battle with our big colossal boy as the flamethrower cobras blast a jet of flame in. They had already scorched one of the other Bloodletter forces. Just barely missed that, but just 2 volleys and both of those units are crumbling away. Sehenesmet is losing his fight with Skarbrand, so I was just frantically casting spells trying to keep the health up. Skarbrand is a monster. And when you're using Sepulchral Stalkers, they're not amazing against infantry. We don't have a lot of choice here, but they are armor-piercing, and they are very, very good at wearing down large targets. We're going to try to work them back over towards Skarbrand. So he's getting a Flame Bath. You can see how much damage it's doing. It's almost 0. He's got a ton of ward save, ton of missile resistance. Skarbrand's a monster. Nehekhara is down there, barely knee-high, and he's fighting. Fighting hard. Settra would be proud. Batting aside bloodletters and stabbing Skarbrand in the Achilles whenever he can. Thrall's disciples lending their blades to the fight as well now, since they've exhausted all of their magical flame. Those Necro Serpents are going to be monstrous in combat. We see Skarbrand starting to get worn down, but at this point I decided the only way we're going to beat him is by defeating his forces and making him rout on off. The Sehenesmet is not going to survive a sustained fight with him. Crazy-haired cultist is screaming on in from the rear there, but he is engaged with Sepulchral Stalkers, and on his horse is going to have a really bad day. Disciples being bathed in flame, but they're fine with fire. Get like a 66% fire resistance innate. If I can find them. Oh, it's gonna be so hard to actually lock them down. Yeah, we're not gonna worry about it right now, but it's in there, and you know. Skarbrand is rampaged, everyone around him is rampaged, but the rest of his forces being ground into bloody pulp under our chariot wheels. All of his demons have already left. Skarbrand's leadership itself finally breaks as he is coated in both flame and arrow. He's gonna fight hard and kill many, but the forces against him prove too much. Another right hook from Sehenesmet. Our beautiful polydactyl boy is not long for the world. And he falls. He will be back, though. We will ride as many of these coordinate whelps down, crush these barbarians, and hopefully we have some time before Skarbrand's back. And once again, the Exiled One has been brought to his knees. We only lost the Deathsower chariot host, as well as Sehenesmet's heralds. But we did manage to pull through with a victory, Sehenesmet dueling, as well as Nehekhara dueling with the Exiled One himself, Skarbrand. Let's go ahead and grab the Endless March, since we didn't really lose that many soldiers besides the units that we actually lost, so we'll gain a little bit of extra gold. Stray slaves. Men whose flesh still crowds their bones with hearts that continue to beat have been found wandering the land. Throwing themselves upon our mercy, they beg for their lives and their freedom to return to their faraway homes. What should we do? We can either let them wander. We would gain extra diplomatic relations and less control, or their lot is to serve. We would gain less diplomatic relations, but more growth. Well, all ever dead, it matters not. These creatures will serve us one way or the other. Then at Sigwolf, the Spearbreaker was killed, as well as Skarbrand wounded. So Sehenesmet has now the Blood Quencher as well, giving his entire army more weapon strength and charge bonus. And Sehenesmet has gained this Sacred Crook of Shepesh. Sehenesmet took all of the religious symbols and statues from the Grand Temple of Shepesh, god of the underworld, and melted them down to make this staff. It is shaped in the image of the crook Shepesh uses to herd the souls of the dead to their resting places, and holds the power of life and death, giving him magical attacks, 80 more armor-piercing weapon damage, a reduction in Winds of Magic cost for Sekhmets, Skullstorm, Syrians, just Sekhmets and Syrians both. And then we gain the ability Sacred Crook of Shepesh, which does a 500 range damage with 70% armor piercing for very good range. Can't wait to try that on out. World Walkers have confederated up with scaling. That is so far north, we are not worried. I am concerned with Hierophant Berekt being able to recruit up quite a powerful army here. We need to retreat on over. We may have to sacrifice the Black Tower, which does make me sad. Well, we don't really need to claim the Black Pyramid of Nagash just yet. We can continue to let them build up armies. It just is going to make it harder for us to claim it back later on. Let's pass out some skill points first. We have Blessings of Shepesh, giving our enemies less movement range. More Winds of Magic for ourselves, less Winds of Magic for our enemies, and then we're also weakening our enemy leadership and casualty replenishment. And then the Army of Qatar. Less construction costs for construction recruitment buildings. I think we grabbed that. And we need to be rank 14 for Ancient Ushabti. And we're getting there. We'll grab the Blessings of Shepesh to start.
My will be done.
Or Shadow Priest. I think we're going to continue to upgrade the Withering and grab Evasion. Working toward Head of Shades there. And then for Oniris, after his quite successful battle with Skarbrand the Exile there, we're going to give him hard to hit. Continue to leave off training for now. Gaining extra ranks is not as important to me as making sure our heroes are properly smackable.
Attack and destroy.
Let's get rid of this last army here. This is not one we are going to fight. We'll give this one auto-resolve.
Nehekhara will be mine.
Fizzled back and sent home to the warp. We lost 3 skeletons there. We gained 300 more gold, or we could go for, instead, some Canopic Jars. We're up to 385 of those.
Servants.
And then can Sehenesmet recruit up anything useful here in, well, I mean, all sorts of good Doomguard units. We could replace some of the Nehekhara warriors with Doomguard. So let's get moving back towards Emry then.
Address me as your highness.
Stay on friendly ground. We can move over to the bridge here, just in case there's another army moving on around. I think Thorak could probably hold them back, though. Send Senuferet over just to continue to scout, because that was where I went wrong. I didn't head this way to Gorgazon, which was clearly where Skarbrand was residing.
Immortality and power.
Prince Oniris continued to give him the hard to hit.
Power in unlife.
As far as rights, we could get another Great Incantation of Thoth, giving us another Casket of Souls. That is quite a powerful artillery piece. I think we'll hold off for now, though. Black Tower of Arkhan, we need more Trinal Plazas. More growth could be very useful, too. Gotta put these in the wrong spots. Let's delete this plaza, he says hesitantly, and then put in one here instead. And we'll charge on over to deal with Hans here at the Pools of Despair, and then we can quickly rotate on over if we need to deal with Sand Grinder here. Fighting the Ogre is going to be quite different. We haven't had to deal with any large mass enemies just yet. And that'll actually kind of hold our chariots back. point will definitely save for Kimri becoming a tomb city.
Yes, it is done.
Settra's pyramid is in place, which is awesome. Yes, I do believe it is a good idea to wrap up our war with the Cult of Sigmar as fast as we can. I actually only expected them to have the 2 settlements. I should have probably checked on them in the diplomacy first, but let's move on in and wipe them out. I'm actually going to attack the Pools of Despair because it'll pull Helmet Kalb in. I do not want him running on away and recruiting another army later on, so I prefer to drag him in as a reinforcing army. Pools of Despair will give us a Pyrrhic victory. It's probably because they've got these 2 mortars going to be raining down some gunpowder balls. Unfortunately for them, we are quite adept at dodging gunpowder balls. And they've got quite a bit of open space here. There's some divots down in the middle that we can catch them in. Let's round them up and destroy these poor, foolish Imperial soldiers. The Pools of Despair are a phenomenon found within the lands of Nehekhara. It is unknown what foul magic spawned their creation, but as a collection of mirages, they have led many to their deaths. It is said that, as one's water supply runs short, a lush oasis will appear. Men are driven mad as they strive to reach these false visions, their canteens filled with what they first perceive as cool water, only to fill themselves with handfuls of sand. Sigmar's sons rally forces against us. Their capes flowing in the wind. It is sad that, unfortunately, this is just another yellow Empire faction. Could have done this with some more colors, but here's what it is. I'll actually put it in slow-mo to kind of get this battle going a little bit more here. So this army has a lot more halberds and a good deal more crossbowmen than the other Empire factions we have fought before. The gunners are going to be Dudley, but only if they actually are able to be given a firing arc. So if we can keep them pinned down or keep them behind their forces, they will be all but useless. Settra and his 2 Tomb Princes are screaming on over Nekaph and Nebethar, and then our chariots are off on the side, with Nekaph, or Apophis rather, all the way up front. Since there is nothing here that I am concerned with, he can fight every single one of these soldiers, probably solo. And the crossbows will actually not turn to fire on him no matter what, since he's kind of a small target and they have a hard time hitting him and they know it. But our other chariots moving around behind to shut down these mortars, since if those start firing in on our skeleton crews, they will take an absolute shellacking. We can't have it. Let's get going. They are bringing blood, faith, and gunpowder to bear against us today. An amazing first hit. Did a good chunk of damage to both units. Crossbows start blasting into Settra's chariot, doing a fair damage. He's going to scoot right between those 2 units and obliterate some crossbows. With a beautiful cast, charging into the next unit. He's just going to charge around and do as much damage as possible. We got my chariots moving around on this unit that decided to scoot way on the outside there. Casket of Souls has already made its presence felt. Joff Scorn backhanding enemies. The end of the beautiful charge from Settra, but he got bogged down on that mortar crew. The Kepra swarms emerge and rip men to shreds. Oh, we just barely missed it. But every single time these guys impact a unit, I got caught up watching it. Watching chariots completely melt a unit of lads is an absolutely amazing sight. We've got some flying, flesh-eating beetles. Finding some halberds. They're not doing great, but they will deal their damage back. They're definitely a glass cannon unit. Not meant to be tanky. Just chariots causing absolute mayhem. The front line isn't even here, as per usual. Our heroes and our chariots are getting all the fun. I think if you're using the Kepra Swarm, they do have a rampage, so if once they've taken a little bit of damage, they may decide to run on away. And if you see a unit braced against you, just pull away for a moment, AI will run away, and then you can get that charge off, doing your maximum damage and taking almost nothing in return. You'll see them brace. If you pull away, the AI will notice that you're not attacking them, and they'll try to run, and then you attack them then. And we are playing on very hard difficulty, if I haven't actually mentioned that yet, so this is the current. I wanted to drop the difficulty on the battle just a bit, just to make sure we had proper ability to make these nice and cinematic, but it is still on hard at the very least. We are going to run down these forces. There's only one reinforcing troop here with the Hunt Marshal. We're going to try to kill him, but since the army has actually already broken, with just these last few remaining, he is on the cusp of this map here. He's just going to turn and run. And we'll just watch some glorious carnage then. Bodies litter the ground. We're basically just hunting down as many of these lads as we can. And we don't even really need to. Anyone that is in the garrison at this point is dead. We are just trying to hunt down the Huntsman General. But he is so close to the edge of the map here that I don't believe, even though Settra is screaming towards him, coated in blood of his fallen enemies, he's not going to actually go ahead and make it. But this was a resounding victory. The town falls to us. Faith, steel, and gunpowder will definitely not be enough to stand in Settra's way. We claim the settlement with only 4 soldiers lost, and we will occupy. Looks like the huntsman did manage to escape. I wasn't able to kill him in the battle, so Sehenesmet is able to retreat to live another day. Arkhan the Black is still running for his life. And we gained an Iron Curse icon. Not a bad item. It's one that we will definitely use for now. We can go for Reanimate, giving us an active ability of plus 16 leadership in the area around us. We won't be going for Blessing of the Ass, but Dune Rider will give us extra physical resistance for our chariots. And then Unfading Memory gives more armor and missile resistance to all of our skeleton soldiers. We'll most likely be going for Unfading Memory and a Dune Rider. Let's first go ahead. See if there's anything else we wanted to grab here first. We definitely want to make Settra stronger in combat, but at the same time, making his troops better also is high on my priority list. Giving him Conqueror ×2 would take that up to, I guess it's not going to show us. Let's go for Reanimate for now. We will get, I don't think I'm going to go for Resurrect, but actually just take it back. That gives us some heals. Or Nekaph. We'll quit dirtling around. We'll grab Over My Dead Body, and then Nehekhara. Go ahead and get him some more armor. Good business. And in here at the Cracked Land, we could chuck in some more infantry or archers. I really would just rather have chariots. We're not going to get them for now, though, so I think archers will be a good bet. I will leave this building in the Pools of Despair till we have these archers, and then I'll take it out afterwards. Refugees of war. The deserters of Kateb have been destroyed, and they seek refuge. We will accept them. Even though that sounds like they were running away from Kateb. The Grey Herds come, the Man-Blight tribe, where are they at? Oh, here's Kar. He is in friendly territory. Hurting the rivers of blood, and the land's bloody as well. Sehenesmet is kind of hanging out. Looks like he is ready to receive defeat. I don't trust the Sand Grinder even a little bit, but I think he is at war with, yeah, these dwarves up here. That's who we would rather go fight. So since he's on his way to fight those dwarves, let's go over and just claim Zandri. Waltz over slowly. Beautiful. We will encircle on up. Sitting at 10,000 income at the moment. Let's go ahead and delete the open graves at the Pools of Despair. It's going to cost 1,500. I think we have plenty for that. Let's grab Khemri, upgrade to the Tomb City. We're going to have to wait on Kosovar for a few more turns. So over here at the Black Tower of Arkhan, do we take the gamble and upgrade it, or do we come back over to Sudenburg and upgrade here with where our docks are? These get up to the 300 income docks and give us more trade tariffs. We'll go for Sudenberg, since it's in a safer position. El-Kalabad, we can't afford any of that, so we'll just go for the growth building. And then we'll come back over here with Settra, and we'll give it one more easy win battle. And this one will go to auto-resolve. We will occupy. Settra has become an assault expert. We have gained also a new regiment renowned, the Chosen of the Gods Ushabti, bearing the faces of Nehekhara's illustrious pantheon. These Ushabti use spear-sized arrows and the fear of the gods to strike at the unfortunate foe. Those guys will be quickly going into the Sehenesmet's army. Yep, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of one of these. Who is the least capable? It looks like it's going to be Antok's Vengeance. Goodbye.
Address me as your highness.
And welcome, Chosen of the Gods. They had armor sundering arrows from what it looked like. Got shield breaker, missile block chance minus 24, armor piercing. You can hide in the forest, which is fair enough, I guess. They've got an innate spell resistance. I guess that comes from Sehenesmet. So are these just stronger than your average, or the normal ones have shield breaker? I guess we shall find out, but for now, it is time for Settra to take back to the advisor chamber. We have enemies afoot all over. Herald's running up to the north. Helmut is just kind of hanging out in the desert. They've got ogres trespassing all over the place and building up forces in the south. And then a surprise army of beastmen has appeared. Hope you all enjoyed part 4 from my Settra narrative campaign. If you have any tactics, tips, unit name suggestions, put it in the comments below. Let's start a discussion, but I am out of time for today. I have been Space Wizard Total War. Remember to leave a like for the light god and a sub for the sub throne, and I will see you all in the next one.